Well, hello, good evening, and of course, welcome. It's another Sunday night. It's another Sunday night in front of the screen of ACC Joy that is the oNiD Racing Multiclass European Super Series event tonight at Donington Park. My closest racetrack, actually. It's only about 40 minutes down the road from where I live. So great to be at Donington. Quite pleased I'm not racing because I don't do very well here. But hopefully these guys get on a little bit better than I normally would. But you know, first of all, thank you once again for you guys joining us and being here and part of the action. Your comments really need to warm me up tonight because it is flipping cold here in the UK, and the shed is currently 8 degrees, which is quite cold. So hopefully the radiator's going to warm me up a little bit, but you guys can get involved on the chat and also help with all of that kind of stuff as well. So let's bring that chat up so that you guys can see yourself on the screen. And indeed you are right, Rob, another messy Sunday indeed, although not as messy as the Monday that's ahead for those in the NASCAR series that heads to Bristol Motor Speedway tomorrow night. Shame you won't be there, Rob. Not sure I'm going to be there either, which is a bit of a concern, but we'll deal with that one. But yes, indeed, another messy Sunday. For those of you new to MESS or new to oNiD, this is Assetto Corsa Competizione, and this series features a multitude of different classes of cars. In fact, let's take a look at all that in a bit more detail. So the MESS series is GT3, Porsche Cup cars and GT4s, 10 rounds with the 7 best to count, 10 minutes of qualifying for each class on their own, 2 double points rounds, and it's a mixture of day or night, dry or wet. So let's just refresh our minds with the calendar as well, because look, we're getting towards the end. 21st of November is today, Donington Park, 90 minutes in the dry. Then you've got Zolder next weekend, and then the final round will be Nürburgring, 150 minutes, double pointer on 5th of December. But you may have noticed that tonight is not a double pointer, but it is a 90-minuter. So more driving with less, no extra reward, I should say. Yeah. A night of fun around Donny. Should be good. So what we're looking at on screen right now, that's Javier Marquez, who this week is allowed to take part in qualifying, because he was less of a naughty boy last week than he has been in the past. So he doesn't have a qualifying ban. Unfortunately, I think I'm right in saying that Dan Hyde does have a qualifying ban this week, so difficult job for him to bring his GT3 Lambo up through the pack of GT4s, and then he'll even be looking at getting past some of the Porsche Cup cars as well. Although I say that, for those of you who didn't join us last week, it was actually one of the Porsche Cup cars that took overall honours. I don't know why I get a tickly throat at this time of night on a Sunday every week, and then it settles in just fine. Oh dear. But yes, so last week it was actually a Porsche Cup car that took overall honours. So you never know when that might just happen again. Quick call out to our sponsors and partners. First of all, you saw the advert just now for Sim Stuff. Great time of year to be stocking up on your sim racing merch, and of course button boxes and all that kind of stuff at sim-stuff.com. If you need yourself a new gaming PC built for all of your racing action, get in touch with Dan Hyde from Caden Computers. and he will get you hooked up on that. We've got a big thank you to SimRace 24/7 as well. That is the home online of all of your sim racing news and information. And of course, Pitwall Live is up and running as well with all of our live timing. So, yeah, plenty of stuff going on here at oNiD, and we will touch on some of that a little bit later. There is some exciting stuff to tell you about tonight. Johnny will join me during qualifying, and we are going to drop a bomb of information on you of something that we hope you think will be quite cool going forward. But only one way to find out, when we have a bit of a chat with Johnny during qualifying. A common cold, I hope you're not catching, but let's go. Jay Marquez, indeed. Javier, one of our quickest drivers in this series, just pulling over onto the grass. We will have a featured driver this week as well, which will be Jimmy Mancy. His car's there somewhere. There it is. He will be joining us a little bit later on. Who have we got out on track to go have a look at? Lancaster was quick on his debut at Monza, and he's not looking like being a slouch round here either. Yeah, Marquez I'm gonna use your words. They don't suit such a urban street person like me, but he is a super nice dude. You're absolutely right. We've got plenty of those in this series. Actually, this has been great. It has been absolutely superb racing up and down through the field. We've had some great battles on the go. So I tell you what, if we get a race that's even half as interesting as last week's race, then we are all in for a great night. That's for sure. So let's take a look at the order so far. You've got Jimmy Mancy out front, clear by a second at the moment, with 126.2. Then you've got Lancaster, Hearn, Southall, so that's the first of the Porsche Cup cars. Then you've got Will McCone in his traditional Audi. Matt Wilmot, hello, up in 6th, with Parkin and Legg right with him for company. Look how close some of those guys are. The ones that have the red box next to their name, they are our GT3 AM drivers. So yeah, you've got Wilmot, Parkin and Legg all together. Then you've got Chakraborty, Eckett, McKean, Roughton, Dave Zalecki. That's pretty low down for him, so I'm guessing he's probably not done too many laps so far. Ralph Vest, then Alex Shahabi in another one of the Porsche Cup cars, then Greg Prescott and Gabriel Samoes. And then you'll notice there's kind of like a 5-second gap down to the next car, Martin Thorpe, and that is because Thorpe, Brown, Burek, Stocks, Ashley and the other Brown are all in the GT4s, as we see a bit of on-track action in practice. So let's just have a check on, so we've got 25 cars in the server so far. Lap times not yet really set from Willie Black and Daniel Beaucamp. I think we might be due a couple more than that into the server overall tonight. We're normally at around somewhere between 28 and 32. I can't remember how many actually checked in for tonight. Lancaster getting the flashes out at this early stage. Greg Prescott trying to follow him along. Yeah, Fred's joining us tonight. He will be in my comms pod later on. And I will go join him shortly. Always just like to make sure that everything's up and running okay, and that nothing's collapsing before I start talking to any of the guests. But yeah, it'd be great to have Mr. Fred with us tonight. Fred Olsen-Forsberg, who is one really rapid driver himself, and a bit of an expert when it comes to all things ACC. So it'd be great to have him in the pod with us tonight. In fact, let's go join Fred now and say hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Adam. How are you doing?
I'm really cold, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's suddenly winter here, although probably not as cold as it gets over your way. But apart from that, I'm all good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, it's good. My voice is not really with me, as you can hear, because I was in the cabin for the so-called final battle of the year, and it was a bit of shouting, a lot of singing, and yes, I want to apologize for that.
Maybe a beer or two as well.
Oh, more than that. I'll let you know. So apparently I'm a bit too loud, according to Cold in the chat.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. Don't worry about doing anything your end. I will adjust it here. So let's just try that. So let's see what you like.
Okay, test 1, 2, 3. Eric, is it good now?
Well, that guy's called Eric, is he?
Yeah.
Great to have you along, Eric.
Me and him do a lot of practice runs on basically every track that the Apollo community are racing in the GT3 league. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, we try to do as much practice as possible.
Excellent stuff. Well, we'll wait to make him slightly louder, like a hint more. This is very precise. I like it. Is he German?
He's American.
Oh,
But
okay.
I guess my German like racing habits are starting to rub onto him.
Well, hopefully you are a hint more now, and it's all good. I think the track's about to go quiet because everyone is heading into drivers' briefing right now,
Okay.
which is good. I do like the fact that we ask people to return to the pits for drivers' briefing. Just means that there's slightly more chance of them actually paying attention. Doesn't always work out that way, but we can but try.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to this week? Any interesting racing action? I know you've been drinking beer in a cabin, but have you managed to squeeze any racing in?
Yeah. When I'm at home, I try to drive between 8 and 10 hours a day nowadays. So
Wow.
yeah, a lot of driving, a lot of practice. At the moment I'm putting a lot of time into Monza since we have the oNiD 6 hour coming up, and I'm planning to be in top shape for that one, and hopefully be a contender for the race win there. So it's a lot of that and a lot of Bathurst practice as well, because I'm interested in doing a 12-hour race there coming up soon.
Oh, I couldn't. I wouldn't even want to drive 12 minutes there, let alone 12 hours. Oh man. But yeah, the Monza one's going to be fun. Do you know what? I part of me would really like to be driving that.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the tracks I actually seem to get on a lot better with than anywhere else. I have no explanation as to why.
What car are you driving? Just out of curiosity. If you get to pick.
Well, it seems that I'm actually reasonably quick there in both GT4 and GT3. So
Okay.
GT4 would be the Mercedes.
Yeah.
And in GT3 would be the Mercedes.
Fair.
I
Fair.
like the Mercedes.
No, but the Mercedes is a great car at Monza, mainly because of two reasons: the amount of grunt the car has and its ability to take the curbs hard. So it's probably a top 5 car there, maybe even top 3. It depends on how long the race are, basically.
Yeah. All of those were sprint races, so.
Oh yeah, then the Merc is a monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Evening, Ralph. Yeah, thank you for joining us, but I assume you're listening intently to Johnny's driver's briefing right now, so so you can't hear me replying with hello, but I hope everything's all right with you, Ralph, and fingers crossed for a little bit more luck for you this week. So some of these guys in the race tonight, do you race against them regularly? Are they names that you recognise?
Well, besides the obvious Ben Brown, who I was supposed to do a 12-hour with, but that fell apart because of bad server management from the community side. I know of Marquez because he's racing in the Apollo League that I also commentate, and of course I know Johnny Ashley as well from the Arc League and from oNiD.
Yeah, I'm
But,
sorry.
no, don't worry about it. he seems like a cool dude so far, at least.
Well, that's what you think at the start, and then I joke, of course, and Johnny will be joining us partway through qualifying as well, because Johnny and I have got some interesting information to dump in, and we will also have so one of the things we do in this series, and I think you were listening in to some of it last week. We have a featured driver in this series. So this week we will be joined in the commentary box by Jimbo Mansi. And just during the race we can maybe ask him a couple of questions. We tend to try and look at the track map first and make sure he's not throwing it down throwing it through old hairpin or something like that at that exact moment in time. But we can chat with him about how things are going, and even a bit of strategy information and all of that kind of stuff. So always a nice little feature to have.
Okay. Yeah, sounds cool. And the time that he put down in practice there with a 1:26.2 is an incredibly competitive time. That is borderline pro, actually. Because as soon as you start getting close to the 25s or into the 25s, that's when you can start to really size up against the fastest people in Europe, at least.
Yeah, and we've seen just how quick Mansi can be this season. He was pushed hard last week, but doesn't look like the chap who pushed him hard last week is actually with us this week. So maybe.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, maybe Jimbo might have a bit of an easier time of it this week, but
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say you never know with Marquez what he can pull out of the bag, and Lancaster as well. He's still a fairly new driver to us. I would suggest that Dave Zalecki hasn't put a proper lap time in yet for him to be down in 14th. He's normally there or thereabouts, so plenty of competition at the top of the field.
Yeah, and one thing that is worth mentioning, because Monza was the last round, right? If I remember correctly. Yep. Yeah. The Aston is actually quite terrible there. Its BOP is subpar, to be kind to it. So if it was struggling there, it's not really a big surprise, if I'm honest, because you're lacking about maybe 10 to 15 kph without tow on the longest straights compared to a Mercedes or a Honda, for an example.
Or even last week compared to the Porsche Cup cars, which...
because of the low arrow, so you have no drag. That's true.
Yeah, they were really interesting last week. Let's see what your man Eric's saying. oNiD versus Arc, your Mansi versus our Warden. So there seems to be a little bit of fun rivalry out there, but the guys at Arc and oNiD, we're good friends. We are partner communities. It's great to see some of you guys coming and racing with us and chatting with us, and I think some of our guys were helping out in a race last night, and some were competing. So yeah, some really good cross pollination is what I'd probably describe it as.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. Exactly what you just said. The community seems to be working well together, and since we're, from what I've gathered, you're kind of partnered up also, so you do a lot of advertising for each other's events coming up in leagues.
Absolutely.
And that helps out a lot when it just comes to bringing people together from different places of the world, since you are a UK-based community, right? If I remember
Correct.
correctly.
Yes. Yes.
And Ark is American, so we have people from across the pond as well coming in here to drive and chat.
Absolutely, and it's always extra beneficial when you are partnering with a community where there's no competition, there's no conflict there, and in fact, actually, it's beneficial for both of us to help each other out. So, really, really good partnership, that one. Talking to people you know, by the way, let's go pick up. Oh no, Johnny's not on track. I was going to go pick up Johnny on track, but that didn't work very well. What about Ben? Has he gone out for a little bit of practice? Let me see if I can find him on the list. No, he's in the pits as well. I tell you who I would like to go and take a look at, and that is Dave Zalacki. Now, I did see him leave the pits. There he is in the Audi. Car number 378 in one of those beautiful oNiD liveries. The oNiD liveries. Big tank slapper. Is he going to save it?
But he kind of kept it straight. Good job.
Well, he stopped it from going in the wall live on the stream. So well done, Dave.
Would have been the biggest commentator's curse of today, at least.
Oh, the biggest so far. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more.
Oh yeah.
So, how do you like driving at Donington?
Well, first of all, I'd pick the Honda if I have to pick a car, or the car to beat if it's driven the fastest way possible without any added ballast or so. And then the Honda is probably the fastest car here, together with the BMW and the GT3 class. Sadly, don't know about the GT4 class since I rarely drive that myself. But other than that, you want to slap on basically as much downforce as you want, and a lot of brakes. You get the initial turn-in down because there's a bunch of high-speed corners that you want to basically just chug the car into and then throttle through. So therefore, you'll need a lot of wing, but also a lot of turning with the rake. Other than that, be quite cautious in the final sector and don't overshoot the hairpins. That is basically how you gain the most lap time, and just be nice and tidy through that part.
I've almost learned that through the two hairpins at the Melbourne Loop and then I forget what the final corner's called. It's almost a case of slow is fast.
Oh yeah, it's slow in, fast out, and you also kind of want to late apex them. So you want to hit the apex later so you can get on throttle before you're really through the corner, if you can call it that. And that just shaves a bunch of lap time off of your times.
Absolutely. Well, Dave Zalacki just going through that final corner now. So I think this is a timed lap. Yes, it is. So he moves up to 13th. But it's pretty rare to go and do your ultimate pace on your first lap on a set of tyres. So have you driven Donington much yourself?
Not a lot, if I'm honest. I've done one endurance race here, so I think I have a few hundred laps on this track, but that isn't really a lot, according to me at least. Front-engine car seems to be faring quite well here, since there's a bunch of off-camber cornering where mid-engine cars can be a bit tricky to drive from time to time. But it's worth mentioning, as I said before, that the Honda is the fastest car BOP-wise, but that's just because of how fast it is on the straights here. You have, I think it's about a 15 to 20 kph pace advantage on the longer straights on this track within that car.
So really, we're watching for Ralph Vest to pull it out of the bag. I think he's the only Honda in the field. Currently 15th, and 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 5th in class, in the AM class. So let's see what Ralph can manage.
Yeah, I think the Honda could be a good shot for a class win there at least. Other than that, the Aston, as we see from Mansi, is a very solid car here as well, just because of how stable it is. Can't really say anything else about that. A car that is tricky to drive here is the Ferrari, because of how the steering is set up, where you have a smaller range of operation in the steering inputs, and therefore going through the chicane and the hairpins, you can have some issues with the rear end wanting to step out on you.
Yeah.
So that's something that's worth mentioning.
absolutely. And do you know what? I, you know, everyone's kind of got their thing that they love in a car, and
Hmm?
the thing that they hate. Well, the thing that I hate is a car with an unstable rear. I would much
Yeah.
prefer an understeery car to an oversteery car.
I can tell why you like the Mercedes then.
That is the epitome of understeery. Yes,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
you can set it up so it's kind of nimble, but that's not really the way to be faster with that car, because the fastest way to drive that car is basically just point and shoot,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not really try to carry too much speed into the corners, because it's just not built for it.
The GT4 is quite nice, and I know you're not
Okay.
a huge GT4 driver, but the GT4 Merc is nice. Super understeery again, but actually I found if you really play around with the with the steering input settings actually on the control, so your steering range, for
Okay.
example, you can dial out a lot of that understeer there, but without
Interesting.
losing the stability of the car, which is really quite nice. So I've always enjoyed driving the Merc GT4. It has its places where it's really good, like Hungaroring as well, which you wouldn't expect for an
Okay.
understeery car, but there you go.
We actually have another Honda in here. We have Shane Watts has also joined now
Oh,
in
of
the number 1
course.
Honda. So
Yes.
that's good to see. Some fellow VTEC drivers. I like to see that. For those wondering, I'm driving that car in SRO right now, so I have quite a few laps into the Honda nowadays. Not the car to recommend if you want to be the fastest on the most normal tracks, though, such as Spa, Mons, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now we are watching GT4 qualifying, and let's take a lap on board with Ben Brown. So this is his first flying lap, and he is driving one of the BMWs, which they are super quick in a straight line and super tricky through any kind of turn. But he's going to throw it now down the Craner curves, this fast right, left, and then into the old hairpin, which this is a really tricky corner, isn't it?
Well, it is a tricky corner if you haven't slammed on a lot of downforce, because you have to send the car in so hard. But I don't think the GT3 car should have much issues through there. But perhaps the GT4s can't really get the rotation either. And if they do, the rear end stability to take it to a high speed.
Absolutely. We're now getting up to the top of the circuit in terms of elevation, taking a right out onto the straight that will bring us down towards the very fast left-right chicane, which you can win and lose a lot of time here.
Oh yeah, in the GT3 cars you brake between the two bollards that you have on your right, slam it down to third, and you throw the car in, but you don't want to hit the further back curb too hard, because that unsettles the rear end a lot. I'm not sure how it is in the GT4 cars. I can expect that it's a bit better. But Ben is coming up now to the final corner of the track. Goes way wide, sadly, but he should still get a good run. Perhaps that is the line in the GT4 BMW, and he is in second place, 3/10 off of Thor.
Yeah, one thing that you do find with the GT4s as well, of course, is that it's really going to take you a couple of laps to get the tyres up to pressure and temperature, because they don't have the tyre warmers, so a little bit of a harder time.
Oh yeah, I've actually only driven a GT4 car once in my racing career, and that was the Alpine on Solder, and that was a very interesting experience, if I want to say so myself. The amount of understeer to snap oversteer, as we look at Ben hitting the bollards on the inside too. I don't really know what corner name it is there, but it looks nice and tidy on his second lap thus far.
Yeah, he's not actually up on his time at the moment. Worryingly for him though, Martin Thorpe, and let's pick up old Thorpey, who is 8/10 up on his current best.
Okay,
Martin,
yeah, that is going to be a very competitive time.
Martin is ridiculously quick in whatever he drives, week in, week out. Here he comes across the line here. He now goes 34.8, so well into the 34s. and that's going to be difficult for Ben to catch, I think. Tom
Yeah.
Stock's also in the BMW. He is a second up on this current lap. Make that 1.2, make that 1.3. So Tom finding a little bit of pace this time, and that could move him up the field a little bit. So let's just watch Tom through this final corner. Tom said in the chat earlier he's trying to channel the inner Alonso. So if you don't know Fred, then Tom, he's one of our admins here, and he actually works for the Alpine Formula One team.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
He's trying to channel some of that inner Alonso, but he only goes fourth, not third. So Ben did improve slightly on his last lap, but only by a tenth, so still plenty to find. Johnny Ashley, there he is, coming down the Craners in the Ginetta. The Ginetta's not exactly a new car, but it is super fun. So on Tuesday nights we've been running the Ginetta GT4 single make series, and these things have been amazing fun to drive.
Yeah, I think, I commentated last round on Soldier together with Ben.
That's
so I
right.
watched that race, and they seem incredibly agile and really fun to drive. But at the same time, when we're coming to tracks such as, I don't know if that's on the calendar though, but a track such as Paul Ricard where there's long straights, I've heard that it's really lacking on the top speed department.
It's very lacking in that department, yes.
But at the same time, a track like this where there aren't really too many long straights, we have the back straight there before the chicane, but like besides that, there aren't really any long straights. I think the Ginetta should actually be quite good, because I've heard that it's extremely good in like mid-corner stability and so on.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah. I do find it's a little snappy on the way into a corner, but then it settles itself mid-corner and exit. But once you start actually getting a hang of what the car's going to do, I found that at the last GT4 round last week, that was the first time I felt really comfortable in the car, and it was super fun to drive. This car here I've not tried. Well, I did a couple of laps in it, and it is ridiculously fast in a straight line, but not particularly good anywhere else. As we see Willie Black just fighting away with his paddy wagon, and coming down the back straight now towards the chicane. And the Willie Black Johnny Ashley battle of rage continues to fight. Those two have been locked in a battle all season long. And so Willie has a good chance of just jumping ahead of Johnny this time around. He's 6/10 up on this lap. That would be enough.
I see in chat that we have a guy, one of the drivers here actually, the car 99 on grid here, says that Audi is terrible on this track. There's few setup changes, nothing's really happened. Okay, my tip for you here is that you want to run a bit less toe on the rear than you want on the front, because the Audi by itself has a lot of natural rotation, but it has a tendency to understay on the high speed. Therefore, you want a bit more camber on the fronts. Don't run a lot of toe, like around 0.05 toe on both fronts and rears. Max wing, pretty neutral rake. You could probably bump up the rear ride height a little bit though, but not a lot, because then the rear will become too unstable on the Audi. And have pretty similar wheel rate on the suspension, so it's a stable platform. Because you don't want a disturbed aero balance in the mid-engine cars. You don't want them to be running too soft on a high downforce track. So that's my setup tip for the Audi on this track, at least. Works as well for the McLaren. Should mention that.
Well, Rahul, I hope you were listening to that, because you couldn't ask for a better bit of free race engineering than that. Lega, I hope you weren't listening to that, because we don't want you to go too quick. That shouldn't be allowed. Only joking, of course, Mr. Leg. As we are just so you'll notice the track is about to get busy because the Porsche Cup cars are just leaving the pits now. So these GT4 guys that were on a lap before the 20-minute mark came up, they can finish their lap. And Johnny is on one. He's 3/10 up, which should put him right on the bubble of pipping Willie to that 5th spot. Do not overdo it into this final corner, Johnny. No, that looks okay.
It looks really good, and he got on throttle nice and early as well. Let's see if he can improve here, or how much he is improving.
Yeah, he
and
does.
He does it.
He does. He
does
sneaks
it.
ahead of Willie, so that means we're going to have a cheery Johnny when he joins us in the com box. In fact, he was super close to Tom Stocks in the end.
Yeah.
But
Very good lap in a, if I'm allowed to call it that, a subpar car.
Hey, it's a 2012 car in 2021, so yeah, it is subpar. I think that is a fair comment.
Maybe I was being very kind to it.
It's a fun car though, and Johnny loves his Ginetta. If we're driving GT4, Johnny's driving a Ginetta. If we're driving GT3, Johnny's driving a Bentley. That's just the way of the world.
Okay. Good to know.
So these Cup cars, have you done much driving in these Porsche Cup cars?
I've done a few races, not too many, with the craziest one being a heavy rain race on Alton Park. That car on that track with no TC is incredibly interesting, but I managed I think it was a top 5 in the end with my good friend Niklas Huben, who is probably one of the best Audi drivers in the world, winning that race. But it was a hilarious race to do.
Fred, say hello to Johnny.
Oh, hello, Johnny. And how are you doing?
You just pipped Willie.
I know I did again.
I bet he's happy.
I was 8/10 up, but I got a bit too cautious going into the hairpin.
Well, another 800ths, and you would have pipped Mr. Stocks as well. But the most important thing was getting ahead of Willie, right?
Absolutely, every week.
Every week,
The
indeed.
end.
Every week, indeed. Hello, Zvon. He's just joined us in the chat. So good stuff. These Cup cars, I don't think they will be right on the pace of the GT3s this week, but they'll still be pretty rapid, and they'll certainly disturb some of the midfield in GT3, that's for sure.
I'm not 100% certain what the actual, what should I call it, like performance of the Cup cars are compared to the GT3 cars. Are they running as much power as the GT3 cars are? Or do they have even more power, maybe? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Fred, in the ARC race on the ARC Enduro on Saturday, if you were anywhere near a Cup car going down the straight, it would either pull away from you by loads or go past you like you were standing still.
Interesting.
In the corners, they were really, really bad. But yeah, on the straight, unbelievable power.
Hocknot says a bit faster than GT3, I think. So yeah, they tend to be a little bit quicker in a straight line because they're less aero. I don't know whether they run similar or more horsepower though. Lega says same power, less aero.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if they were running different power, but okay then. Thank you.
Luke Southall is currently your pole man. 128.4. Alex Shahabi 7/10 further back, then Josh McKean and Mr. Fish, Andrew Pike. And then you get that big jump back to the GT4s, and what a surprise, Mr. Thorpe on pole in GT4s, just to clarify all of that. And Zvon, congratulations, 2nd place. It's a great qualifying from you, and you pipped Ben to 2nd in class as well, so great stuff. Jonathan.
Yes. It's a Sunday, you can call me that.
I can call you whatever I want, whenever I want, really. It just then depends what reaction I get. Anyway, we've got a few things to talk about this evening whilst this qualifying's going on, haven't we?
We have.
I'm going to start with the raffle.
Go on then.
So I'm bringing up the raffle information on the screen right now. So, do you want to just talk us through what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just oNiD's Christmas raffle. We're going to run these probably a couple of times a year. This is our first one. Obviously, some great oNiD merch up for grabs. £2.50 for a square. We've got 1 to 50. We've got 50 squares basically. Pick a number between 1 and 50. We put your name on a list with your number, and then because I think it's the middle of December, we'll have enough hopefully to be able to draw it, and then and these are your prizes up for grabs. So obviously you got a hoodie for your first prize, a t-shirt, nice oNiD mug, and a track sticker for 4th place. So yeah, it should be a good one. Hopefully it's all to raise funds for 1, the prizes, and 2 for oNiD. You know, as we know, this stuff isn't free, so we just trying to earn a little bit of cash to help us run things and keep this, you know, what has become a great community, keep it going, really.
And what a fabulous merchandise partner you have.
I don't know where I found him. It was proper random.
You
But,
found him
I
in
can't,
a ditch somewhere.
I can't get rid of him.
Well, you've tried your best, but I'm still here. Yeah, exactly. The track sticker, by the way, is entirely your choice of what track. I can do pretty much any track in the world. So let's just quickly flip back to the action and just check on things in Porsche Cups, and then we'll do the other big bit of information. So Luke Southall's still fastest. He's dropped down to a 1:28.1 now. Shahabi is a bit closer, 5/10 now, and then Mr. Fish there in 3rd, and Josh McKean 4th. So just the 4 Porsche Cup cars tonight. No Larson tonight.
No, Mr. Larson, he's having a week off and he wants a break. To be fair, I think he's only missed 1 round all season, so, and it's been a long old season, so he messaged me and asked if he can have a break this week. So he'll be back firing next for the last 2 rounds, I'm sure of it. And he was also keen on the AC Indy League coming up. So.
Oh yes, not as keen as I am. Oh. Willie says dibs on the hoodie. Well,
I had to stop Willie from buying all 50 squares.
Why did you stop him? Well, yeah, no, absolutely. And yes, Ralph, Indie League. You need to give yourself the Assetto Corsa role on what's it called? Discord. That's the one. And then you can see the upcoming Indie League. That will be exciting. Anyway,
Southall has a spin at the top of the hill while we're talking about that, just saying.
Oh, and another one.
Something tells me that Luke might have been doing a little bit of showboating there.
Okay.
As we flick to Mr. Pike in his nice OTL liveried Porsche. Right, before the GT3s come out, let's just talk about the other thing that's coming up. So most of you, especially the Brits out there, would love on a Friday night to go to the pub. We probably haven't been able to do that as much as we want to just lately. So why not instead head to the oNiD Arms, the Friday night you never knew you needed. So Fred, I don't know if you can see the stream at the moment, but there's 2 very handsome gentlemen pictured on our stream right now. Any guesses who those 2 idiots, I mean lovely guys, might be?
Will I get kicked out for the wrong answer?
No.
Okay. Can it perhaps be you and Johnny?
It can! It can! Well, Lega says he wouldn't like to go to the pub. It's full of bellends. And the oNiD Arms is no different. This one's full of similar type characters as well. So
my new favourite person is Rob Jacks. He thinks you're the drunk.
I'm not trying to be funny, Rob, but I'm the one that's follically challenged, shall we say. Well, follically challenged on the head, but not on the face. No, I'm the one eating chocolate with the glasses on, and Johnny is very much the one dribbling out the side of his mouth. Basically, the idea is that Johnny and I quite often get together on a Friday evening virtually, and just chat crap and drink a couple of beers and jump in some open lobbies and all kinds of random stuff like that. We thought we'd invite you guys along with us. So we're actually once a month going to be on Twitch, just two of us, with occasional guests as well, and all kinds of carnage will ensue. It's going to be fun, isn't it, Johnny?
Yeah, I can't wait. This was your brainchild, but I think it should be good. We do it, a couple of times a month. We get together, we go on AMS2, we chat, like you said, an absolute load of crap about sim racing, motorsport in general. Usually me shouting NASCAR a lot,
and me shouting F1 a lot.
So it should be good. Come along, give us a watch. Like Adam says, we have some guests, some oNiD guests. We'll have some non-oNiD guests. I'm sure even Fred might get an invite.
Yeah, if you want me to, I'll be glad to be there. I'll even bring my own beer.
Oh, that's the kind of guy I like.
Yeah, the oNiD budget doesn't stretch to supplying beer, so yeah, you'll have to.
No worries.
But yeah, Rob's just hit the nail on the head. He said, "Surprised you already haven't done some kind of bant fest." That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
He's just going to be. It'll probably be me and Johnny just taking the piss out of each other, and occasionally inviting other people in to referee the situation. But we will also take a look at some of the action that's been happening that week. We'll talk about upcoming events and races and series and stuff that's going on in the world of sim racing and all kinds of stuff like that. But really, we will let ourselves be guided by you guys as well. So it'd be really important for us to have you guys in the chat and being part of the show as well. And we'll see how it goes. Rob says it seemed like the next logical step based on our Discord chatter during races. he doesn't get the best impression of us two, does he, on a Monday night?
Need to have a featured move of the month, or none of them be from Willie because he can't get past the Janetta. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Enjoy the race.
Okie doke. Absolutely.
Have a good one and best of luck.
Cheers, Fred. Thanks, guys.
So there we go. I have no idea what Willie responded with because it's got asterisks on it.
Well, I can say it, but am I allowed to? How TOS friendly are you?
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Oh, William. Come on. Oh, no.
Oh, well.
Oh,
the
Rob,
Johnny rule.
Rob fell foul of the no Johnny rule. Never mind. Let's take a ride on board with your man Rahul Chakraborty, who was the guy who you were giving the setup advice to. So
yeah, hopefully he managed to find something that it was okay to, that actually helped him a bit. The main issue with the Audi is just whenever the track is off camber, it's the rear end stability. That is where it struggles on a track like this. And it doesn't like the bumps as well, but it's mostly the rear end stability that is the issue. So hopefully that helped a bit.
well, he's currently 6th and within a second of Lancaster. Although, as we say that, Jimbo Mansi goes with 26.6.
That is a good time, especially in these temps. That is a very competitive time in most leagues. Good job, Mansi.
So Chakraborty is 3/10 up on this current lap. He was 6/10 up, but dropped a ton in the Melbourne Loop hairpin. touch deep into the final corner as well. Punches it out there, and he's going to find himself 5/10. Goes
Up to fifth. Not bad at all. Good job.
Interesting.
See how I'm gonna go have a look at one of the fellow Honda drivers and see how they're doing.
Interesting, you see that currently third fastest is still one of the Porsche Cup cars.
That is interesting.
So let's go pick up Mancy as he goes through that fast chicane. Oh, welcome back, Rob. You've had your ban lifted. Yeah, Willie's not a huge fan of Nightbot. Actually, Willie, do I need to add that to the list of things that you don't like? And what were the other ones? Gazebos, tents. There was something else as well that you didn't like.
Looked like Jimmy was setting up for a Mancy was setting up for a new lap there because he ran wide by his own demand going into the into the final hairpin just to get the better run. But he goes wide after the first corner. Hopefully, didn't lose too much time through there.
He lost 2 tenths.
Yeah, that's rough.
He got a little bit snappy on the brakes, it looked like, and then he just it walked itself out wide.
But I also want to mention, I know that this is not what the set standings are going to be, but I want to mention that we have a AM driver up in 4th now, and Alex Parkin.
Yeah, Mr. Parkin has been punching well above his weight at times this season.
Always fun to see the AM drivers doing well.
Alex
always
is,
root for the underdogs.
Alex is a driver who has improved so quickly over the past year. He's an oNiD regular, and yeah, he's been doing an absolutely phenomenal job. So good to see that carrying on, Alex.
Perhaps promotion time soon.
Oh yes, he's not going to get away with another season in AM. He's not like
Usually,
me.
It's pretty fun that most of the AM guys actually kind of want to stay in AM.
Yeah, I won the GT4 AM championship, and then somehow managed to talk myself into still being an AM for the Ginettas.
You, good sir, have a silver tongue. Good job.
But it's just as well, because it hasn't worked out quite so well in the Ginettas as it did in the GT4s. Do you think you might have run wide enough to have invalidated that one? Yeah, he's back out of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Jimbo, are you with us?
Yeah.
Yes,
it's been here for a while.
Ah, hello sir, how are you?
For about 30 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, I'm sorry.
This featured driver thing's a mug.
I haven't got enough screens to keep an eye on Discord as well.
I saw,
It's the quietest preparation I've had for a race in a long time. I'll say that. It's yeah, thanks.
No, but I just want to say, solid pace, like really solid pace. Good job, especially in these high temps in a car that is not really known for having a lot of turn-in. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. It's I think this is definitely up there as one of my favourite tracks.
You're British after all. I tend to have issues with the British tracks myself. Not a big fan of them. Oh yeah, same. Like Common Cold in chat can confirm that I was gonna make a setup for him. I usually do a bunch of setup for basically all cars, every track that the arc races are on. So everyone has like a non-default aggressive setup. But when it came to Snatterton, it has no redeeming qualities in the entire track. So I just did one setup and just I can't be asked. It's too bland.
No, there's I can't find a sector of that track that I enjoy.
Oh well, that right-hander before the long sweeping right-hander where there's like a dip in the ground and you kind of just chug
the bomb hole, it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That one, that is like the only good corner on the track.
Yeah, I'll take that, because when you get it right, there is a good feeling around that one.
I quite like turn 1 as well.
Turn 1's not bad.
No, the bumps on the inside are just too murderous. You can't really send it the way I like to without dying.
Oh, Willie says it looks like a penis. That's its redeeming feature, and he's right. If you do look at the track
Fair.
back, it does look like
looks like.
a slightly warped penis as a track.
I was going to say it's not. I mean, I'm not an expert. I've had one all my life. But...
Oh boy, this stream's going downhill quick.
That's what you get when you're bringing new people.
I said it was clean jokes only this week after last week's
parking.
Whatever you want to call it.
Parking might be about to go third. He does.
Yeah. Oh, good job by the AM driver. But we also see Car 99. I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your surname. That's why I'm saying Car 99.
Chakraborty.
Chakraborty. He got up to fourth. Perhaps this small setup stuff I said helped a bit. I don't know. I'd like to get some feedback in chat if possible.
Absolutely. By the way, Willie has just confirmed that Snetterton is all shaft, no balls.
Oh yes.
So all of the important information right here on oNiD. But Jimmy, I'm going to confess, I was expecting a different accent when you joined us tonight. I didn't realise you were British.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I guess, how would you know?
Well, exactly, yeah. And I don't know, mate. I don't know why, but I thought you might have been Italian, and maybe it was the Valentino Rossi thing that threw me off. But
yeah,
so whereabouts are you from?
So I'm from Norwich, originally in Norfolk.
Yep.
But I was about to say I've been around. That's still too early for that. Got a 90-minute race to get through. So I've kind of moved quite a lot all over the place. So at the moment I live in Essex, and I'm very quickly picking up. Yeah, what geezer?
Whereabouts in Essex?
So just near Basildon.
Oh, Bas Vegas.
Yeah, far enough away to not carry a knife constantly, but close enough to be wary of. So if there is anyone from Basildon listening and I've offended you, I'm not sorry. It's facts.
My uncle lives in Wickford.
Okay, so that's where I live.
Oh right, very good, very good.
So have you been?
Not for a long time. I grew up in Chelmsford.
Okay, that's where I work. So.
Ooh. Yeah. God, Chelmsford's boring these days.
But the Italian thing is my dad's side of the family are Italian.
Oh right, so it is an Italian name, right?
The surname is Italian, yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Listen, tell me to shut up if you've got setups you need to be sorting fuel and all that kind of stuff.
I'm already done.
Sweet. So, do you think you can have a fairly straightforward night tonight?
Until I catch Johnny.
Well,
it seems every week that I race.
Take long.
Yeah, it seems every week that I race, I come across him at the worst part of every track. When we did Zandvoort, it was after the left hairpin at the start of the lap when you go through like the roller coaster bit, you know, the right, left, up over the hill. I think it was 5 times in a row I caught him at the same bit of track, and it was hell.
Oh dear. So the Valentino Rossi thing, you just a big fan, or?
Yeah, big fan. I've grown up watching motorbikes, and then sort of 96 when he burst onto the scene, I wasn't sort of following him that much then. When he came up to the 250s, I was quite a big fan. Started watching, paying a bit more attention, found a love for the colour yellow, and
good choice.
Sort of, yeah, here we are. He's now retired. Obviously, it looks like he's going to go off and do some GT racing, which is great.
Is he really? Wow, that will be interesting. Because he was obviously he had a test with Ferrari, and there was even talk at one point about him. Yeah, could he come and do some Formula One stuff as well? He's quick on 4 as well as 2, isn't he?
They did. Ferrari took him to their test track. Is it Fiorano?
Fiorano, yeah.
Yep.
And he lapped half a second slower than Michael Schumacher's record.
Yeah. The guy knows how to throw something around a racetrack.
I think it's just you have a natural feel for it, don't you?
No, I don't.
Well, yeah, not all of us. Unfortunately, we're not all blessed with them abilities.
Oh dear. Well, this is the formation lap, as it says on the screen. It is a good time, just whilst you guys are getting yourself ready, just to take a quick message from one of our sponsors, and then the intro, and we will be back very shortly. So, welcome along to oNidracing.com at Donington Park for the next round of the Multiclass European Super Series. My name's Adam D, and joining me tonight is Fred Olsen-Forsberg in the commentary box, and our featured driver tonight is Jimmy Mancy, who is busy prepping for the start of the race. We've got a couple of corners left of this formation lap, and then we get to go racing. So we'll stick it on the helicam view for the first couple of corners, as always, to see what kind of action there is up and down the field.
We have a car in the pits.
We have a car in the pits, 720. I think that is that Shane Watts? No, it's not. We'll come back to that shortly because we are about to go racing. Mancy, Lancaster, Parkin, Chakraborty, McCone, that is your top 5. As we get the green light and we go racing.
Audi gets a good run there on the outside.
Yeah, and McCone did in his Audi just behind that as
well.
And Chakraborty into the back of Lancaster.
Well, that's going to be a lot of damage for a bunch of the field.
Oh, I think we might see a red flag here. I would not be surprised if we see a red flag.
And I think that's Marquez being sideways, still in the middle of the track. That's a sorry start for what seemed to be a good race.
I would be very, very surprised if we don't see.
Oh, we have another spin there on the Mercedes there, and we have more contact. Lancaster driving into, I think it's Rothton.
Let me just try and find those guys. So there is
Further
Sam
back.
Roughton. Yep. So he's recovered now. I'm amazed that we haven't seen a red flag chucked here. But at the moment, Jimmy Mancy has a dominant lead from Alex Parkin, who has Will McCone right up his chuff.
Yeah, but we all, yeah, exactly. We have the AM driver up in second, so it's a really good result for him if he managed to hold on to this.
Looked to me like there was a little bit of action back at the hairpin. Wow, Martin Legg up into 5th as well. Big beneficiary from the first lap carnage. And Jimmy Mancy, though, out in front by 2.6 at the end of lap 1. So, Jimmy, you must be pretty relieved to have got through that one, okay?
Yeah, it's I mean, I've done enough races to know now that starting further down the field is not recommended. It's
unfortunately, some of us can't avoid it.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I've been in that position and it's horrible.
Well,
but yeah, decent start, and tyres seem to be where they need to be, so we'll settle in now.
Plan going forward. What's the strategy gonna run? You're gonna go as long as possible?
No, I'm just gonna pit after 45 minutes, do my fuel, and then just pit again towards the end, stick a litre in. If I see a gap in the field early enough, I'll go for it.
Okay.
Well, we have lost one car. Daniel Chavez is out as McCone sends it up the inside of parking. That was a bit bold from Will. And
Yeah, but
Alex
no,
does the old
Hearn is coming
switcheroo.
back in.
Yeah, it does bring Andy Hearn into the mix in his sort of classic McLaren livery there. He will try and get a run at those two guys in front. It's always a tricky one when you are somebody like Alex, because in some ways you could just let these guys go because you're not in the same race. Actually, his race is with Leg, who is in 6th place right now. But at the same time, we all get that missed descend in front of us, and we want to hold our position. So Alex doing very well so far, but Will McCone sniffing a good result here tonight. What's the Ferrari like to drive around Donington then, Fred?
A bit interesting because of how the steering is with the car. Since it has a much narrower like operational window in the steering, the rear end can be quite twitchy going through, especially this chicane that they're going through now, but also at the top of the hill. The rear end really likes to slide out because you're having too much steering input, although it doesn't really look like you do. It's a strange car to drive, but it's a fast car, but it's tricky to get it right with it on this track at least.
Josh McKean getting a good run at Martin Legg, and Legg I think doing the sensible thing there and just saying, right, through you go, we're in a different race here, and just making sure that he has a nice tidy race. It would,
and we see Vest going up the inside of Lambert's. They're side by side going into the final chicane.
Here we go now in.
And
That's a
big
send.
send, but he's gonna go very wide and lose a lot of positions going through there. Yeah.
And in fairness, Ralph has got a nearby challenger right with him, because Matt Wilmot is in the same battle, the same AM class, as Ralph gets a bit sideways out of turn 1, and Matt will have a run down through the Craner curves and gets the job done. That slide from Ralph was enough for Matt to then get through. Lancaster then on the recovery drive.
Oh, I think that's Dave Selecki going almost spinning out, but he managed to collect it. But now Lamberts are coming back at him on the outside. It looks like Dave has a lot of front end damage. He seemed to be suffering from floppy hood syndrome, from what I can see.
From what?
Floppy hood or floppy bonnet or whatever you want to call it. Whenever you have down.
I thought you said floppy hoop.
Oh.
I'm going to stop talking about status and Asians now.
Oh dear, nobody wants a floppy hoop.
No.
And if it's a syndrome, you need to go and see the doctor. Dear, oh dear. I need to put my hearing aid in, obviously. Let's go have a quick check on the guys back in GT4. So Martin Thorpe in and amongst some of the GT3s here. Just goes to show.
His goals are beyond our understanding.
Just goes to show what a disastrous start some of the GT3s had, though.
Oh, yeah.
So Greg clears him, and you would expect Sam to now fly past him as well. Chakraborty's next up.
Worth mentioning that Ben is not that far back. It's still really close, but Chakraborty's car looks really damaged. It looks incredibly beaten up.
Has he got a floppy hoop as well?
Oh yeah, he very much does.
Eckett will be next up to get past Thorpe, but so Thorpe is your leader in GT4. Ben Brown is second, and then it's Zvonimir Burek. So Zvon has lost a position following the start, but look at Stocks and Black side by side as they climb the hill now. It looks like Black has just got through after Stocks had a bit of a wild moment out of the old hairpin.
Something that is worth mentioning here is that Parkin must have committed a mistake because he's falling back to 7th now. So Leg is up in the lead now in the AM class. Oh, never mind. I'm wrong. Wait, what happened? Something's going on with my relative. Did Leg go off? Also? No, I think my relative was
yes.
just...
No, Leg has dropped down to 10th. No damage there, but he now has Wilmot right behind him, and he's dropped behind Gary Samoas. As we see Lancaster now trying to get a run. Oh, he gets past Wilmot.
Oh, yeah, okay. So what happened to Leg was that he hit the second curb in the chicane too hard and spun the rear round.
Oof. This, by the way, is your battle for the lead in Porsche Cup class.
It's very close between those two.
As it has been, some of the best racing has been in this Porsche Cup class.
It might be because of the lack of aero, because you don't really get as affected by the dirty air as you do in the GT3 cars, so you can just stick closer to each other. That just promotes close racing.
And they have had some super close racing. By the way, welcome to all the raiders from ACC Sim Series. Great to have you along. Hope you can stick with us. This is oNiD Racing's Multiclass European Super Series, live from Donington Park. And we are watching the battle for the lead in the Porsche Cup class. We've got GT3s, GT4s and Porsche Cup class cars all together in this race. Great battling up and down the field. 30 cars made the start here. We're left with 29 after Chavez was an early retirement, I think probably from the lap 1 carnage. So
it's very interesting to... So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Will McCone now obviously up to 2nd and Andy Hearn following him along. Please, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that it's very interesting to look at the Cup cars going through the entire sweeping first sector of this track. Because a lot of the corners, they're just sideways because they're on throttle so early. But it also sort of stabilizes the car just because of how the Porsche is built. You want to be on throttle early in those cars. So the lack of traction control doesn't really matter. So the cornering just looks incredibly interesting. But Luke Southall goes wide.
He does indeed. So Josh McKean through and into the lead. So let's go take a look at what happened to Southall. Well, I will do if ACC will let me.
Looked like it was a messy chicane, just as what happened to Leg. From what I could see on my cam.
Absolutely, we're just loading the replay now. Thank you, Peter, for following. Great to have you along. So we are just loading the replay of what happened to Luke Southall. So it always takes a few seconds. But here we go, coming into the chicane. Got sideways on the first bit and then had to correct it, so it wasn't too dramatic. He lost a place to park in. Did he lose a class place to Shahabi? No, it looks like he held that one.
Yeah, but Shahabi is coming in close and fast as well now, so expect that battle to be heating up soon.
Those two have been close all season. Shahabi was our overall race winner at Monza. As we see Tim Brown just dropping it in the background. So he's a lap down in the GT4s. Southall has the pace of Parkin here, and I think he's going to breeze past into the chicane. No, Parkin keeps his foot in, but ends up cutting the chicane as a result. I might just have to give way to Southall.
Oh, that's tight and really close going into the first hairpin. But that just puts Shahabi right back up on Southall's tail. No, wait, actually Parkin got out ahead. But that was close to...
Southall.
Oh!
Was there contact? I think there might have been a touch of contact from Parkin on the way into that corner.
Yeah, it looked very strange for both cars to take that line. Otherwise, I think there must have been some kind of contact.
So Alex Shahabi now gets himself up into 2nd in class. So let's just check in on our leaders. So our overall race leader and GT3 Pro leader is Jimmy Manti, who is just coming up to put a lap on some of the GT4 cars now. Our Porsche Cup class leader is Josh McKean. They see him just heading up the hill now, so his time has been made a little bit easier after Southall's issues. Alex Parkin is still somehow, after his interesting night so far, your AM GT3 leader. Thank you, Akiro, for the follow. Much appreciated. And Martin Thorpe, what a surprise, is our race leader in GT4. I always start with the same question to him after a race. Do you ever get bored of winning everything? No is the answer.
Do you know if he is gonna do the 6-hour race that you're hosting soon?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. He may well do.
Hopefully he does. It's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting to race a bunch of these guys there.
Martin is quick in anything. So Martin races with us in Assetto Corsa on a Monday night. We're currently coming towards the end of our NASCAR league. As Alex Shahabi is the first to take to the pits.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that.
He also races with us on our Thursday night 2016 DTM League on Race Room as well, and he wins all of those. Although he's only 3 points ahead of me in the NASCAR series, so you never know. Andrew Pike not particularly happy with Lancaster's method of getting through, especially because it puts Samoa's right behind him with a chance to get past as well. So we've got so it's a 90-minute race tonight, and there is a pit window that's been open for a few minutes now. So it's an hour and 15 minutes pit window, I think I'm right in saying. And,
yep.
So that's got an hour and 7 minutes left to run, and I think just the one car with the really early stop so far, and that was, oh no, Shane Watts is in as well. So Legg and Marquez side by side. Once again, Legg doing the sensible thing and letting Marquez go. He knows that Marquez is quicker, but Javier was caught up in some of those early issues. I say early, turn 1 issues, which we never really got the chance to watch back, but I think it was all triggered by Chakraborty getting into the back of Lancaster, if I remember rightly, going into turn 1.
From what I saw, yeah, that was the case, and then basically it just ended up being a big pileup where, especially a bunch of the people who are now, of course, running further back in the field, looked like they got a lot of damage out of that little incident, which wasn't really a little incident now when I think of it. But now it looks like Lancaster is getting past Parkin. Parkin had a compromised exit out of at the bottom of the hill.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Yep. So Jack's back up to.
Oh, I tell you what, our track spotter telling us that Chakraborty has had a big incident. Oh yeah, he really has. That's more than a floppy hoop now.
Oh yeah, that's not looking good. Do you know where that happened?
No, I just came up to him after the foggy S's, so I would imagine he's lost it through the chicane.
Yeah, that is very much what the Audi likes to do.
So that extra voice that you hear is this man on screen right now, Jimmy Manti, who's currently leading this one by a fairly significant margin, 15.2 seconds from Will McCone, who's doing a pretty solid job in that Audi. Will is pretty good at keeping his nose clean in these races and finding himself in elevated positions as a result. But yeah, life being quite easy for Jimmy so far. How's the car feeling, Jimmy?
Really good, really good. I was lucky to have a 90-minute race a couple of months ago here in another league that I'm in, and conditions are very similar, so I just sort of stuck that setup on and went.
Do you make your own setups? Out of curiosity.
No, I have absolutely no idea about the setups. I just grab some fast setups off people and then go with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious.
As Chap Borty comes out of the pits, certainly gave you something to spot there, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's probably this and Paul Ricard are the worst pit exits, as they feed
like
you right into the line of fire.
I feel like the Brands Hatch one is pretty sketchy as well. I remember from the 4 hour that we were running here on oNiD, where I finished third. There were some very interesting moments with the pit exit coming through there. Especially in the GT3 cars, that when you're going through that first corner so quick, and then there's a guy going like 70 kph out of the pits. Can be very scary.
I tend to find that Zolder can be a little bit interesting on pit exit as well.
Basically, any of the old school tracks that they haven't really rebuilt the pit exits on, that's seems to be a big tendency to be interesting stuff going down.
So here comes Johnny Ashley in his Janetta, and I can only assume that Johnny was an unlucky recipient of issues at turn 1, because he has dropped back to 26th, which he's only really 1 or 2 places further back from where he started. But the worst thing is he's behind Willie, and
oh no,
Johnny behind Willie makes for grumpy Johnny.
We shouldn't be too harsh on Willie though. He won that 4 hour race, so he is a endurance winner.
He is. You're right.
Give the man some credit where it's due, though.
Oh God, do I have to?
I don't know. That's up to you. That's what I'm thinking, at least.
There he is, coming across the line. So he's 2.3 further back from Svan Burek. That was Ralph Vest in the gravel there. I don't know whether that was Ralph just trying to come out of the pits or what. Seemed like a very strange place to be in the gravel. Yeah, he's taken one of his stops. There's 2 mandatory stops tonight. So I think that was Ralph trying to come out of the pits and then noticing that there was a flood of cars on their way through.
But Jimmy, out of curiosity, is it the Aston that you always drive, or do you have any other cars that you like?
The Aston is the only car I drive at the moment. I started off on the game with the AMG and the AMG Evo. Okay. But about 500 hours into that, quite liked it, but there was something missing with it.
Steering
was.
Yeah, mainly. Things like, for example, Zandvoort, the last 2 corners were an absolute nightmare. You couldn't go flat out.
Fully understandable. Looks like there's been an off there before ahead of you there.
Yeah, parking lost it through the crane of curves.
Yeah, we're just about to pick up on, just waiting for a replay to load of what happened to Dave Zalecki as well, because he's had a big moment. Pretty bad evening for him so far. So he's coming down into the old hairpin. Drops the back end on the curb. Takes a neat little 360. And then boots it too hard in frustration and takes another little 360. So unlucky Dave. Sorry that we took a replay on that. Please don't do it again. No, you're off and running safely now. But yeah, in the background, parking went off as well.
Another question to Jimmy. With the setup, if you know, you said that you didn't make it yourself, but do you know if it's a high rake setup, so you're running pretty much max ride height on the rear and max wing with a quite soft? Oh, okay, yeah, but that's usually.
Yeah, that's exactly how I run it. So I'm quite fortunate. I live very close to Dalking.
Yeah.
In terms of streaming,
I race him.
So,
I race him quite a bit.
So he's obviously sweating the Aston a lot at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky enough to get hold of some of his setups.
Yeah, and I guess
And
you're
then,
also running 1 TC1 and 7 TC2 then as well.
7 around here. Some tracks I still run it as 1.8. Suzuka, for example, is incredibly
Okay.
slippery. I
Interesting.
leave it at 1.8.
I feel like the meta for the cars with the two TC settings are either 1.7 or 2.8 from what I've gathered, but I don't know. I haven't really driven the Aston a lot lately, and as I mentioned before, Honda driver. So there you tend to run 1.7 most of the time.
Yeah, I like the Aston. A lot of people say it's boring, and
Oh, it's great.
I can understand
It's so good.
like the side of it where people say it's boring because there isn't like that I'm gonna murder you at every corner Porsche feeling.
Mm. Did you watch the SimGrid World Cup thing? That was not too long ago. By
Not
any
the World
chance?
Cup.
Okay. So basically, I think they have about 50 entries into that league, and I think over 30 of those entries was Aston Martins. Because the car is just so good in endurance situations with its fuel consumption and tire wear, and how good it is in the wet, and just how easy and stable the car is to drive.
Yeah.
So it is just good. It's just really good overall.
I think
Besides
the
some
thing is for me is I
Monza.
like to drive every lap like it's a qualifying lap,
Okay.
and you get to do that in the Aston,
Yeah, it
and it
doesn't.
doesn't really bite you back for it.
Yeah. It's just great. It's just so good.
And it looks good as well. I mean, that's my input to this conversation. Is it's a good-looking car.
Yeah, well, it was the first car I started off with in ACC when I got it about a year ago. So yeah, but it's just a good car. It's really good. And if you're gonna do any spa endurance races, just pick the Aston, and you pretty much have cheat codes.
Yeah. The only thing with the Aston is out of the slow corners.
Yep, you
So out
have
of the hairpins and on
the
the start
turbo
as well.
lag.
Yeah.
Have you tried the technique where you ride the brakes instead you spool the
That's
turbos
exactly
up?
what I did at the start, yeah. So
Okay,
I
yeah,
was
good.
never able to do it on my old pedals
Oh yeah,
because the old CS Elite load cell I had it didn't have enough resistance.
yeah.
But with the V3s and the brake performance kit, I'm able to ride the brake a lot better and control the speed.
Okay.
So I've started using it, and it's made a massive difference at the starts.
For those wondering what we're talking about there, the cars that are running turbos, which are pretty much every car besides the Mercedes, the Audi, and the Lamborghini, if I'm not mistaken, and the Porsche. All the other cars are running turbos, and you don't really have a lot of grunt on the low end of the revs, and therefore you want to ride like 25% brake-ish in the starts.
Yeah.
And then instead of slamming the throttle, you just release the brake pedal, because then you will have full boost when you're off the brake, and you will have better starts. That's a tip from me, at least.
Yeah, it's something that I've definitely got to play with a little bit more in how I do it. But
Yep.
yeah, it's made a difference already. I mean, there were some races where without using it, I'd be like second, and I'd drop to fourth or fifth before turn one at somewhere with a long straight.
Yeah.
It's not too bad here. You kind of get away with it a bit, but
I mean, like Spa, for an example. If you mess up the start there, you're screwed. You're gonna
yeah.
lose 3-4 positions.
So
but
just,
what is your
just
favorite?
whilst
Yeah, sorry.
you guys were chatting there, we saw Lancaster get past Eckett. That was for position. Lancaster has taken his first stop. Eckett hasn't, so it was against strategy, but still for position in the same class. So Lancaster recovering well from that turn one incident. Sorry, yeah, carry on.
The next question I had was, what are your favorite tracks? I can kind of expect what it is since you're driving the Aston, but like, let's say what your personal favorites are.
When I was driving the Merc, I absolutely hated Silverstone.
Yep.
Because I just couldn't get the car to work around there, whatever I did. And I was sort of busting to break sort of into the 159s, 158s.
Yep.
As soon as I went to the Aston, huge difference. So Silverstone's back up there now as one of my favourites. Paul Ricard I actually quite enjoy for endurance, like 90-minute, anything over 60 minutes really is quite good. There's a lock up. And Donington I really enjoy, just because it's one of the tracks I went to a lot as a kid, and I've watched years and years of racing. Imola is by far my favourite.
Oh, okay, interesting.
What about you, Fred? Where are your circuits of choice?
Oh, it kind of fluctuates a bit. It depends on what mood I'm in, but I think that my absolute favorite right now is probably Bathurst, just because of the nature of the track and that I drive the Honda, which is just super broken there. It's hilarious how you can go like 296 kph in when you have a toe on the back straight down the chase. It's hilarious to see people try to defend against it because you just can't. Kyalami is amazing. I think the flow of that track is godly. Love that track. And
yeah, Kyalami actually is one of mine.
And Spa. Just for endurance races, Spa is just amazing. Especially if you manage to cram in like 60 cars on the track. It's so fun. One thing that is not fun, by the way, lapping GT4 cars on Bathurst in the mountain section. It is impossible. And you lose so much time being stuck behind GT4s.
So we're looking at Jack Lancaster now, but there is a battle brewing between Hearn and McKean. Those two getting pretty close together, but also Marquez and Southall are super close as well.
Also super close between Martin Legg and Dave Zalecki, exactly.
So,
that Dave's car looks really beat up. I think he's struggling a lot.
Two Audis together there. Oh, I thought Beaucamp was going to come back across Dave there. Let's take a little ride on board with Dave, see how it's going now. As he tries to close up to Legg. Sorry, Dave. Another commentator's curse for you. I think that might be the third one tonight.
See how the car handles through here. It's not looking too bad, honestly. I think it's mostly bleeding time down the straights. Oh, never mind, I take it back. It's really understeery and then scary on the corner exits. Yeah, the damage is not helping him at all. The car itself is already not that stable, being the Audi, and then having to deal with the damage that he's running with now is just bad. But then also Legg making a mistake there in the chicane, so Select is right back on his tail, going into the hairpins.
So I'm sure you don't pick up damage all that often, but when you do, what's the kind of point where you say, okay, it's now worth it for me to stop and
10
get
seconds.
this fixed?
10 seconds. Well, it depends on where the damage is also, and like track dependent. Like if you pick up a bunch of rear end damage on Monza, it doesn't really matter too much because you don't really run any wing. So like having damage towards the diffuser / the wing and the rear doesn't really matter too much because you just have to take the corners more cautiously. Where we have a spin in the cornery section, we have a car going backwards. Did you see who it was, Jimmy?
5. It's Bo Lamberts, I think.
Lamberts, yeah.
Okay.
Seems to be every time I go near someone through there. I promise
it's not
me.
I was on your POV and I just saw him kind of doing his own thing to the right there.
So we're going to try and pick up the replay on stream right now. It's just having a little think about it. Hopefully I've gone far enough back to find it. No, we've just caught the end of it, but it's the bottom of the hill down towards the old hairpin, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it looked like that. Me being a really bad commentator, I've not checked what the actual pit rules are for this. Is it a mandatory tire change in this?
No, there's no mandatory tyre. It's just 2 stops, and you got to take fuel on both stops.
So couldn't you technically be able to just fill up full and run on map 2? Because I know, for an example, that the Aston is, I think, sort of able to almost run 1.5 hours on map 2, and just take like 1 liter for 2 pit stops, 2 laps in a row towards the end.
Normally, I've only really gone with this strategy because it was what I did in the previous 90-minute race that I did.
Okay.
But I think as well, knowing the guys that were missing tonight, for example, no Kelly, no Miles.
Yeah, Kelly is going to be my teammate for the 6 hour. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
good
so-
God, that's
so-
the team to beat right there, isn't it?
We were, as I mentioned before, we were supposed to do a 12 hour of Kailami, but that kind of fell through because of some dodgy servers stuff going on. So we decided to do that race instead together.
Oh, as Parkin drops it into old Hairpin, almost collected Chakraborty with him as well. But and that's not the best rejoin, Alex. But yeah, no big issue there. There's a right collection of cars here as Tom Stocks turns in towards Javier Marquez, and I think that one might actually be a battle for position between Stocks and Black. It is, with Thorpe in between them. So is Thorpe just pitted, or is he lapping them already? He's lapping them.
Question real quick, Mansi. Also, it's a bit of a car question. Have you driven the Bentley anything in this game? You haven't? Okay.
No, I've had a quick go in it, but yeah, I've not spent enough time with it. I think there'll be a change of car soon.
Okay, interesting.
But I don't know what I'm going to go for.
There seems to be a
But
lot of
obviously the
carnage
new-
ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm just attracting all of it. You know, it's
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit on your POV and enjoy the view for a bit because there's a lot of stuff going on here.
I've got a feeling there might have been something between Marquez and Lamberts there, so we're just dropping back into the replay to have a look. Once again down at Old Hairpin, but yeah, so Lambert's there as he comes down the crane of curves. Marquez closing in behind him. This would have been to put a lap on Lamberts. Oh, Lamberts drops it all by himself. Marquez has to take avoiding action. Does well to avoid the spinning Marquez, but then rejoins into the middle of a GT4 battle. I don't think Tom Stocks will be very pleased with that. He lost a position to Willie Black as a result. And then...
oh my gosh, there's so many cars.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just going to say, poor old Jimmy in the middle of all of these cars.
Especially when they're in different classes, so they don't really have the same speed as you do. This makes it even harder to predict where they're going.
Oh well, we're through it. I'm still alive.
So riding on board with Tom Stocks for a moment as he tries to chase back down Willie Black. So Tom lost that position after getting balked by a recovering Marquez right here on the last lap.
McCone is in the pits.
So McCone from second into the pits. That'll be for his first stop, I think. Interestingly, both Lamberts and Johnny have taken both their stops already. So Johnny fancies a long final stint.
Perhaps it was driving with undrivable damage, so he had to come in early.
Lamberts has been off again at Old Hairpin. So Bo really struggling now.
The car looks damaged. Yeah. And it looks incredibly twitchy. Oh yeah, that's a big off. That's a really big crash from Lamberts. I think that's race ending almost. No, you see? I think that's him done.
Let's,
really big hit.
Let's see it on the
Tank
replay.
slapper.
So I think the damage on his car was making life very, very difficult. It would be good to see Bo get back to the pits, even if it's an RTG, and get it fixed and back out there. So this is him recovering at the Old Hairpin, and then he comes up.
We have another
the hill.
crash. Right next to him. Tim Brown getting really squirmy going out of a corner and just sliding into the front, and now he's also suffering from floppy bonnet, I'd call it instead then. syndrome.
Not a floppy hoop.
Yeah, exactly. But I said hood.
You also said
want to
flappy
have-
and not floppy, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So Lamberts is back in the pits. We've also got Eckett in the pits and Watts in the pits as well. So Lancaster up to 4th now, having already taken one of his stops. So he's having a pretty solid recovery after that first lap issue. Let's just take a look on Tim Brown. He has got quite a bit of damage on that GT4 Aston. But Tim carries on, finishes the race, whatever happens to him, which we absolutely love to see. Tim, by the way, if you didn't know, is Ben's brother.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Cool. Cool.
So let's just take a little flick up and down through the field, see who's doing what. Let's check in on El Prez, Matt Wilmot. There he is in his OTL Aston, running 14th. So won the AM class last time out, but not looking like repeating that tonight. Leg is actually back in the lead of that one.
Yeah, it's been it's been going back and forth between those two, because as soon as someone starts getting ahead, the mistake is made by the other one, and yeah, they've been swapping positions from like a lot lately here. So it's gonna be interesting to see who can be the most consistent for the rest of the race.
Real shame for Parking, because his pace was superb, up in third in qualifying overall.
Yeah, and it was running second after the first corner incidents started to happen.
Absolutely. Well, good to see Matt having another solid night with us. Let's see, who else should we check in on? Let's have a little check on Alex Shahabi. Alex is running 3rd in class, quite a way off the back of McKean and Southall, but Shahabi has already taken one of his mandatory stops, whereas the other two have not. And Alex is always there or thereabouts on pace in these in this Porsche Cup series as he gets past Tim Brown. Who else should we have a little check-in on? Stick with the Porsche Cup class. This is Andrew Pike, another one of the OTL drivers, running a very orange livery these days. Coming down through the craners, he's running 12th overall. That is 4th in class, which unfortunately is last in class, but we won't say that too loud for him.
I think he's still doing a good job keeping that Porsche Cup car ahead of some of the GT3 cars.
The flappy wet one is doing a good job. He is indeed. Let's see who else we've got. So Will McCone has already taken one of his stops. He has actually, so this is interesting, he's dropped behind Jack Lancaster. Jack having already taken one of his stops as well. So that is a net position gain for Lancaster, which could mean that Jack is actually back as far up as 2nd overall, because that's where Will was before he stopped. So
It should be.
what a superb recovery from Jack, considering he was in the gravel at turn 1.
Oh yeah, it's been a really good drive by him. After that turn 1 incident when he got hit in the rear by the Audi, he's just been doing a stellar job keeping out of trouble and just been really consistent and putting the laps in. Hopefully he hasn't grabbed too many track limit warnings, because I think that's fairly easy to do on this track, so you can still be pushing it. It's that chicane that gets you.
Well, old drive-through Dave will be the first one to watch on that one. Car 378 has picked up that nickname just lately. So Jimmy, you're approaching to lap Will McCone. How do you approach lapping a
Will,
fairly...
just put him in the wall.
Oh well, yeah, with Will, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, put him in the wall before he puts you in the wall, right?
Yeah.
But how do you approach lapping a reasonably quick car compared to a back marker?
No stress really. Bit more confidence, obviously, with the quicker guys. Their braking points are similar, so you know that you just need to be maybe that couple of meters earlier, just to run it into the corner a bit more, if anything. It's obviously you tend to find the quicker guys are more experienced, so they know what's going on too. I used to get quite flustered behind back markers, but I've realised quickly that there's absolutely no point.
I suppose it's a bit easier when you've got the lead that you have to not be too flustered. But do you ever find that some of the quicker drivers have got a little bit more of a not that I'm saying that this would be Will, of course, but do you ever find that some of them would have a bit more of an ego about not wanting to be lapped and therefore make it more difficult for you?
Yes, yeah, I get that. It's kind of like when they believe they're as quick, and I've done it as well. It's kind of like, you know, well, I should be running with you guys, especially if they've been in an accident, and it's put them back, and that's why they're getting lapped. Then their back's already up anyway, so.
Every now
But
and
as you can see, Will's not really interested in letting me past. He knows that I'll be pitting soon. He's definitely getting better exits out of the corners with the tyres. So I'm not close enough to get a run into the corner, so I'm not really losing any time.
every now and again I hear the Norwich in your voice, you know.
Oh, you will. You will. I'll be boxing at the end of this lap, so.
Let's stay with it. It's
Another
short pit entrance here as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Another way that you can get by back markers is flashing your lights furiously and sending the fullest of sends into the corners.
And that is not recommended.
Oh yeah, that is very much recommended. Trust me.
So the oNiD rule is you are allowed one flash to indicate you are about to make a move.
So you can't stress people out, okay?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
People who drive with me know that I don't flash like ever, so I'm just taking the piss basically.
If you're ever driving behind Willie Black, then flash, because it really winds him up. So just make sure. The other thing is, if you're sort of just behind him on the grid, on the formation lap, just keep driving into and through his car, because that really winds him up.
I'll remember that because I think he's doing the 6 hour, right?
Oh, he will be. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna piss him off then.
Willie, you heard it here first.
See what team is in. He is driving with. I'm checking at the entry list right now.
That's interesting. So, in coming into the pits, Jimmy, you've just put a lap on Lancaster, who is effectively second. I mean, obviously he's going to unlap himself by getting out of the pit slightly earlier than you, but you're not a huge amount off of being a lap up on the field.
No, that's the plan.
Well
Fair.
done,
No,
man.
it's just a clean race really, and you know, I feel good around here anyway, wet or dry. So
I can't find Willie in the entry list. That's sad.
You can't find Willie. Sounds like me for the last 10 years.
That's a substantial F.
I'm looking for something that looks like Snetterton.
What is it Peter Kay used to say? I have a veranda over the toy shop. Dear. Anyway,
there's some
moving on
others.
quickly.
Oh no, there's some other Swedes in the oNiD race. That's fun. I don't really see any other Swedes in the racing scene nowadays.
There are some out there.
Not many.
No.
Far and many between.
So let's just have a little flick back through the field. Let's take a look at McKean and Southall, because that one is closing itself back up. So we know that Southall had
Thank you.
a rough couple of laps. Oh, car 17. That's Greg Prescott. He's had a moment down at the old hairpin. He's recovering. Let's see if we can pick up what happened to Greg. But then we'll go take a look again at Southall and McKean, because, like I say, Southall had a rough couple of laps earlier on, but he's now recovering quite nicely. He's right with Josh McKean. But let's see what happened to poor old Greg. So he got out of the way of Will McCone, coming down through the craners. And then Dave Zalecki. Oh, I think Dave might have contacted the rear of Greg. Ouch. Well, I'm sure the instant panel will be getting told all about that one. So great to have a number of you with us here at oNiD, possibly for the first time. If you are joining us for the first time, then welcome. UK-based community, but racers from, well, all over the world, in fact. We have a number of American drivers with us, as well as guys from all over Europe. So you guys would be more than welcome to come and get involved as well. Southall has got past McKean, by the way. But as I was just about to say, then the way to get involved is take a look at onidracing.com for all the information. Car 230 has had an incident. That's Tim Brown. Southall past McKean then for that 6th place, and more importantly, the 2nd place in class, because Alex Shahabi has got himself up into the leading class.
Yep. I'm having a look at the cup course right now, and it's still very close between Southall and McKean. They had the GT4 car they had to navigate here, but this battle should be coming right back up now again. And Shahab is not too far ahead either. That battle is far, like the battle for the class lead is far from over.
Absolutely, and if these guys are anything to go by from other times in the season, then they will end up really, really close together at some point on the track, as McKean sends it up the inside of Stocks to put a lap on him.
Also want to mention that Javier Marquez, who had a very bad first lap there when he got spun around and basically was left stranded in the middle of the track whilst everyone was driving past, is up to 3rd.
He is, and
so he's been driving a really good race.
And that's a legitimate place as well, because he's you know, on the same number of stops as everyone else around him. I think Lancaster can be is the wild card here, because we don't really know where he'll slot in after the other ones does their pit stops. I think he might even be ahead of McCone. I think that is the case. Yeah, I think so. He's taken both of his stops now. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how much fuel McCone is going to put into his car. It all depends on that. If he's planning to do a tire change or anything like that, because I think if he's just driving in adding 1 liter, he might still be ahead. Because I know that Lancaster had to repair some damage in the beginning of the race. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's fine. Will's got a very heavy foot, so he'll probably need lots of fuel.
Understood. We had a spin, and that's Dave. Half spun around in the second to last hairpin.
Dave Zalecki having a really tough night. These guys just coming up behind him, and actually Andy Hearn seems to be catching Marquez at the minute. Oh, Marquez takes to the pits for his final stop. Gilly James, thanks for the follow. So Marquez in, and then that'll be him done for stops. Let's pick up Lancaster.
Feels like a long stop here by Marquez. Interesting. Well, we're going to see how strategy plays into the picture. And looks like Tim Brown has a lot of front-end damage on his Aston.
Do you think these guys are taking tyres at either of their stops?
So how I would do it personally is if you're stopping in the middle of the race, so after 45 minutes, then yes, I'd probably do a tire change. But I think the fastest strat for these type of races are splash and dash. You fuel up the car to the brim. You run on map 2 for as long as you possibly can, and then you pit and just add the amount of fuel you need to finish the race. So you basically just negate that 30-second pit stop timer, so you get like a 7-second pit stop instead. And then basically you just be consistent and stay out of issues. That I think that is the fastest way of doing these races. That's what I've found, at least.
Yeah, I guess if you got 2 stops and you gain effectively 23 seconds per stop, then that's 3/4 of a minute you gain by doing that. So
yeah, the only thing what I meant with putting in the middle of the race, that you do that, you have done one pit stop and then you have that 30-second, but then you have to do a second a lap faster pretty much every lap for the rest of the race to then pit at the final or the second to last lap and add 1 liter just to do that final pit stop as well. That's why I think just basically running for as long as you possibly can is the best option for these races, myself. But that's just my personal opinion.
of course, it's always awkward when a community then decides to put a pit window in place, so so you can't do that.
Yeah, that is true.
We only have 28 minutes of the pit window left, but 35 minutes of the racing action to go. So, yeah, you'd probably have to go right at the end of the pit window instead, I guess.
Question for our leader, Jimmy, if you can hear me.
Yeah.
How big are you into the endurance scene?
I don't really get to do a lot of endurance racing because of my work. I work weekends, which is obviously
that's
when
rough.
most endurance races are. So I tend to do league stuff on the weeknights. I was actually in the Silverstone 10 hour with Jardier and
Same.
Jimmy Broadbent.
Yeah, I was also there.
So that was quite good. Good taste of it. I've done a couple of soloed. Go on.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. No, I was just wondering how the race went for you there.
We came P10.
Ooh, that's really nice. Who did you drive for? What team?
Sim Race 247.
Ooh.
oNiD.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Probably.
So I'm one of his sponsored drivers. So I got into it that way.
Yeah, we had nightmare starts. I think I qualified 12th or something in that race. And then we got spun round and hit lap 1 going into Maggots and Beckett's and had 2 minutes of damage, and we dropped back in far. We fought back up to, I think it was 19th or 18th. And then I went to bed to sleep for a bit because I'd been up super late and doing practice because I couldn't sleep. And during that time, someone screwed up the entry list and our car despawned.
All right, okay.
So we got a DNF for that race, my team. Oh, that was close though.
So we've got car.
I could see that happening, and I know exactly how the car reacts if you touch that grass and curb.
Oh yeah.
Out there, so.
So we've got car 230 off. We've also got a yellow flag for car 919. I'm just trying to see who 919 is. It's Daniel Beaucamp.
Okay, exactly.
Let's have a look at what happened to Daniel, because I think we've got an interesting attempt to then rejoin the race coming up as well, which is always good entertainment.
Oh yeah, he is having the eyes going straight into the pits afterwards, so that's good.
So, we actually miss his first incident, and then he waits right on the pit entrance there. He continues to wait. He's obviously looking for a gap to turn around safely. God, it's a long wait for him. Now he spins it round. Ooh. Didn't wait for a big enough gap, and unfortunately spun it round again. So he is back in the pits. Tim Brown is in the pits as well, trying to fix some of that damage, no doubt. Let's pick up. So there's Alex Shahabi, who is your race leader in Porsche Cups. But the gap is coming down. McKean now 4.5 seconds behind, whereas it was over 6 seconds not so long ago.
Looks like,
takes the pits.
Yeah, we also missed that McKean got past Southall, because last time we were talking about those two battling it out, Southall was ahead.
That's right. So these two yo-yoing around in terms of position. They move ahead of Shahabi for now because Alex is in the pits. So Hearn doing a solid job again tonight, up in third. But like we say, Lancaster, the unknown quantity here. In fact, Lancaster is coming up behind this little group, and he will want to clear these Porsche Cup cars pretty quickly. So let's take a ride on board. As he now heads out onto the back straight. So this is the part of the circuit where you would expect those Porsche cars to just pull away a little bit. And then you expect the Aston to come back on song through the first half of the lap. But he's actually carried a lot of speed compared to the Porsches through the chicane. Now under brakes a lot better as well. Martin Legg continues to lead the AM class. Just looking down through the field. So you've got Wilmot and Parkin have both taken their second stop. So I think Wilmot is in the process of doing it right now. So Smoers is currently second in class there, but still got another stop to go. So really the battles between Legg, Wilmot and Parkin for the AM win tonight.
Yeah. I think Legg is in a really good spot though.
As Legg
Because he has quite
hits.
Yeah, but he has a big gap to Simos. So I think he should be fine unless he makes a major mistake going out of any of the fast corners, basically. It's looking good for him for a class win.
The interesting thing will be how close Parkin can get now. Now he takes this second stop. I think that's Parkin just in front of us, actually, a couple of cars ahead. We're looking at Southall and then McKean, and then that looks like Parkin just going into the chicane. Yes, it is. Is that Tom Stocks getting a bit sideways? No, it was Ben Brown. So Ben Brown about to be lapped by Southall. It's all getting a bit tight through here. So you're seeing on board exactly what fun you get with multi-class racing as they get past Ben Brown's GT4. Whoa, and,
oh that's
my
contact.
Goodness. Lancaster into the back there of Southall, and that takes Southall out of the battle with McKean for a while. So I'm just trying to load a replay, but ACC doing its normal thing and just hanging, letting us watch it. Yeah, so it was a bit of a concertina effect into the final corner, but Ben just letting Jack know that he wasn't impressed with that. With an old flash of the lights. But Jack through up into 5th overall now. He's actually the first of all of the cars to have done all of their stops.
Yeah, I think that Lancaster is in a really good spot for P2 here. I think he is technically net P2 at this point, so he's done an amazing job climbing back from a pretty horrendous first corner.
Absolutely. Not many people had much fun through turn 1, probably with the exception of our leader, who just ran away into the hills at that point.
How lonely has it been thus far, Jimmy?
Well, I've been able to talk and listen to you guys, so it's been quite nice. It's like having a race engineer almost, because I get sort of free updates about what's going on in the race.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
one way of
quite,
looking at it.
yeah, it's quite nice. It's sort of like I get to hear what's going on without trying to watch a stream and race at the same time.
Do you normally watch
Yeah,
a stream or do you sit in the voice chat?
I sit in the voice chat normally.
Which means having to listen to those idiots talk.
They're alright. I feel like I'm doing my bit.
I'm normally one of those idiots, so I can say that. So
No, it's been I'm quite. I think this is the part of me that would enjoy endurance racing, because I like to sort of just settle into my zone and sort of start to just compete against myself for my lap times.
Are you free the 4th?
Sorry,
Or are you free the 4th of December?
am I? Sorry, I can't. What you said?
Are you free? Are you like off work the 4th of December?
I don't know at the moment. I'd have to have a look.
Because I think my team could probably take on one more guy if you want to. If you want to drive with me and Christian Kelly.
Yeah, potentially. I'll have a. I'll have to have a look. As I say, with the work and the weekends and stuff. But
Yeah.
normally, any time I do get off, I have my other half who I spend my time with. Especially if we're off together. Oh god, everyone's stopped in front of me.
Now, no hurries though. I'll fix everything when it comes to like setups and so on. So take your time
Okay.
and get back to me whenever you know what is actually going on ahead of you there. Oh, it's the GT4 car. That's why.
So Marquez. So this is Shahabi, Marquez, and Pike, nice and close together. So Marquez will want to get through here, but Andrew Pike then will want to take a look at the back of Shahabi for class.
Ooh, that's close between those two. The Aston has a lot of damage ahead of you, so you know, Jimmy.
Yeah, I see he's looking a bit worse for wear.
Finds his way past Tim Brown now as we're watching this live now. And we have our first drive-through of the night. Congratulations, Ralph Vest. You are the winner of the first drive-through of the night award. You get a drive-through.
Exactly. I'm actually quite surprised that there haven't been more drive-throughs. I tend to struggle a bit with track limits going through the chicane, but I guess I'm just sending it too much.
Yeah, so Ralph immediately takes to the pits to serve that one.
Yes,
So,
it's the smartest thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. So who have we got left to take a second stop? Well, there's our leader. There's the leader in Porsches as well, Luke Southall. He's yet to take his second stop. Andrew Pike, also in the Porsches, yet to take his. Rahul Chakraborty of Turn 1 fame, yet to take his second stop. And Martin Thorpe, our leader in GT4s, yet to take his second stop. So every single one of the class leaders yet to take their second stop. Wonder what that tells you.
And for the AM class? No, AM is...
Oh, no, not for AM class, but yeah. So Mr. Fish takes to the pits right now. How much longer do you think for you, Jimmy, before you take that final stop?
Well, McCone's just up ahead of me. And as much as he'd unlap himself when I go to do my 1 litre, I'd quite like the satisfaction of making him move out of my way.
I was just going to say, you want to lap him, don't you?
Yeah, I got 15 minutes.
Yeah. Go for it.
Right. How can I get in touch with Will and tell him to block? Obviously, we would never do that. Will would do that of his own accord anyway. So, as we predicted, Lancaster is up to second now as this all shakes out.
Yeah.
So,
really good recovery from him.
Superb. Marquez is 6th. Just 1.7 off the back of Josh McKean. a look at Marquez. I think he's had a slightly more eventful recovery. But pretty solid all the same. Hearn and Shahabi pretty close together as they go into Redgate. And then start that drop down Craner curves. We see Tim just having a bit of a moment in the background there. So Hearn getting closer and closer to the back of Shahabi. You can't miss Shahabi's Porsche with that colour scheme.
It's also really close between. It's a really close battle for 17th right now. Also going on. They're in the hairpins now.
Chakraborty. Let's
exactly
pick that one up. Let's ride on board with Chakraborty, and our face is full of Greg Prescott's backside as Willie Black takes a unique dive out of the way.
Base of action.
Yeah. The one thing you got to say about that Audi is, God, it sounds good.
Oh yeah, the V10 is glorious. I love the sound of both the Audi and the Lambo. If I were to pick a car between those two, I'd pick the Audi though.
Yeah.
In this game, it's just a superior car, according to me.
I drove the Lambo in a Friday night race at
My
Kyle Army,
condolences.
and oh my God, it was horrendous.
The Audi is amazing. It's probably one of the most enjoyable cars to drive, especially when you get it right with the setup. It just feels amazing.
Well, Chakraborty trying to get closer to that McLaren in front. That purple and orange beast. Whoa! and-
Usha on the grass.
Yeah,
That's gonna force him to drop back quite a bit.
Chakraborty just locked up on the grass there. But continues on. So we've got 20 minutes left of this race, 12 minutes left of the pit window.
Oh, you've
Thank
gotten
you.
past McCone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame that we
Nice.
missed that.
Oh, he
No, you
moved.
should-
He let off.
Oh, okay.
Weren't
It's now
anything
that
worth watching.
you should have pitted now just to rub it in. So he lets you by and then you just go into the pits.
Yeah, I did think that, but I might come across him again before the end of the race, so you never know. That's why I tried to say thank you as much by just flashing my hazards at people when they let me past.
Got to love
Yeah,
somebody who's got their indicators mapped. Good job.
One thing that I found pretty fun is the people that have them mapped, but they forgot to turn them off. So you come up to people who are just like indicating left for a good hour. That happens a lot in the endurance races.
And of course, if you're thinking, I would really love to map some more buttons for more functions, but I'm running out of buttons, then I've got a simple solution for you. Head to sim-stuff.com and buy yourself a button box. And there will be some Black Friday deals coming up.
Oh,
this
look.
week, so. Drive through
Selecki.
Dave! Drive through Dave gets a drive through. Well done, Dave. Chakraborty gets up the inside of Greg Prescott. Doesn't quite get that one done as Greg's back to the inside for the final corner. And these two have got to be careful because they've got Mr. Mancy coming up behind them, who sensibly dives for the pits. You didn't fancy a bit of that action then?
Nah, I'm alright. I've had enough excitement tonight.
So Prescott gets past Thorpe. Chakraborty will now try and do the same, and does so. Talking of lonely dominant drives, Martin Thorpe is having yet another one of those. I think. I don't know how close Ben is when Martin takes his final stop. We'll check back in on that later. But Martin, as usual, taking a solid win. Just as Chakraborty was getting close to Prescott again, he drops the back end and loses a chunk of time. and he's actually... Oh no, Prescott's gone off! So
Yep.
Chakraborty through, and did Vest get through as well?
That's
He did.
very much correct.
And I think Dave Zalecki... Oh no, that's Will McComb trying to put a lap on them. Yeah.
Oh no, Johnny, no.
What's happened?
The words that so many of us have heard. We're going to have to go find a replay of whatever it was.
It was into Schwant's curve, or McLean's,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah,
I
looks
thought
like
he was going to
just
hold the
spun it on
wider line
entry.
because the
Or did you spin him round?
I hadn't had a warning to say I tapped anyone.
Well,
Okay.
we're about to watch it. Here's the replay. So Johnny with a plethora of cars right up his chuff. Pulls over to one side. 1 and 2 go through. And then Jimmy comes in. Oh, so yeah, Johnny goes back towards the racing line. And I think you expected him to stay wider.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to stay a bit wider with the cars all harassing him, as it were.
So how is Johnny getting on tonight? We know he had a difficult start.
Oh Jesus, we have a GT4 going straight on the grass in the first sector. Oh, is he? Oh, camera! Why did you do? Oh, okay, he didn't run into someone. Come and check who it was. Yeah, it was Thomas Stocks who got forced wide out of turn 2, I think it was. Happened to be on the on the right side of the road on the grass and basically going straight into should be turn 4.
Well, we're about to pick up a replay of whatever happened. We also had Rahul Chakraborty dropping it onto the grass and taking a little spin. So let's see. Stocks here then. So Stocks had got ahead of Willie Black. He's then got Southall trying to pass him. Was just sort of run off the road by Southall. There wasn't really any space for him to turn in there. And just ran out of road by the looks of it.
Yeah, he did a good job of not understeering out to the middle of the road and basically just happened to be slow on the racing line. So good job by Thomas Stocks there.
Yeah. He's a great driver to battle with, is Tom. I enjoy racing against Tom. He will, of course, be disappointed to have lost the position to Willie Black, though. So unfortunate for him. But he has the pace tonight, so see whether he can close that one back up. So let's just take a look. We've just under 15 minutes left. Let's just take a look at your overall order. Jimmy Mancy continues to lead from Jack Lancaster, William McCone, Josh McKean, Luke Southall, Javier Marquez, Andrew Hearn, Alex Shahabi, Martin Legg, Andrew Pike, Alex Parkin, Grant Eckett, Gabriel Samoas, Matt Wilmot, Sam Roughton, Dave Zalecki, Shane Watts, no, Shane's out, sorry, Greg Prescott, Ralph Vest, Rahul Chakraborty, Martin Thorpe, Ben Brown, Zvonimir Burek, William Black, Tom Stocks, Johnny Ashley, and Tim Brown. And tonight we have lost Shane Watts, Daniel Beaucamp, Bo Lamberts, and Daniel Chavez.
I want to mention that Ralph West had a off at the top of the hill.
Oh, unlucky
Or close.
Ralph.
Or precise, or like a bit before the top of the hill, from what I could see.
Right, there he is. He's 18th as they cross the line. So Ralph having a difficult night with his NSX. So that was your full order. Let's just take a quick look at each class leader. So Jimmy Mancy is, of course, your leader in GT3 Pro. Then you have got in GT3 AM, it continues to be Martin Legg. So Martin having a really solid night tonight. Then Josh McKean is your leader in Porsche Cup class. He's 4.2 seconds ahead of Luke Southall. And then your leader in GT4s, like I even need to tell you, is Martin Thorpe. So there we go. That's all of your leaders as we come in to the last 12 and a half minutes of this one. So I think that's pretty much all of the stops done. In fact, yeah, that's all of the stops done. So no more pit stops are required. Let's see if there's any battles out there. So yeah, Roughton close onto the back of Wilmot now. Let's take a ride on board the AMG.
This isn't really a track that suits the... Oh, but Wilmot goes wide, and Roughton gets the pass done then.
We've got a yellow flag out there for car 230, which is Tim Brown, so he's had another moment. Matt Wilmot looking for a way to come back at Sam. He'll want that position back, because that was for 4th in class. Leg continues to lead that one pretty convincingly.
Question, Jimmy. Have you lapped P2?
No.
You haven't, okay.
I'm up to Marquez in 5th.
Okay.
So Roughton then, I think, just starting to pull away from Wilmot. So that one might be job done. Hearn is getting closer to Southall though. So let's go pick that one up. Oh, in fact, he's obviously just had a send on Southall. Gets it done. And makes that position up into 6th overall. There's no class position changes there because they're both running in different classes. But an overall position has changed. So once again, for anyone who's new watching oNiD Racing here, we are a UK-based community, drivers from all over the world, and we run lots of different sims on different platforms. So on a Sunday night, this is where you generally catch our flagship event on a Sunday night on ACC, which at the moment is this Multiclass European Super Series. Monday nights generally is for Assetto Corsa action run by me, so always expect something a little bit crazy, and at the moment we are running a NASCAR league using the amazing RSS Hyperion mod. Cabalance, thanks for the follow. Tuesday nights is generally where you will find us back on ACC doing some GT4 action, and at the moment it's the Genettas, which is a great single make league. Wednesday nights we all tend to put our feet up and relax a little bit. Thursday nights at the moment is Race Room, and we're running the 2016 DTM League, which, oh my God, the races at Salzburg Ring last week were just so intense, really, really good. And then Friday nights, you got a choice. If you're a PC guy, then there tends to be some Friday night social races over on ACC, and if you're an Xbox kind of guy, then there is the Friday Night Race League on Assetto Corsa as well. Saturdays we tend to get involved in all kinds of crazy stuff, and sometimes that will be our social nights for AMS2 as well, which AMS2 is due a huge update this week, so that'll be interesting to see. There's some free cars, free content, and another big physics upgrade as well for AMS2, so excited to see what that brings this week. But if you want to find out any more about that stuff, then onidracing.com and join our Discord as well. Come and find out what we do. We're a very, very inclusive community, so we have ridiculously quick drivers like Jimmy and Fred, And then we have ridiculously, shockingly bad drivers like me. So we have a huge variation in driving abilities, and have lots of different ways of fitting guys in to everything that we do. So even if you're new to sim racing, come join us, come find out what it's all about, and we will help you out. So, pit window's closed, but that's fine because everyone has stopped. 7 minutes left.
Whoa. That was early.
That's what she said. Thank you, Bombari, for the follow. I hope I've said that right. Bombari. It was 83 anyway, so.
Yeah, what happened, Jimmy?
I think maybe Chakraborty turned in a little earlier than Jimmy was expecting. Is that right?
Just stepped on the brakes a lot earlier than I was expecting. I was, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like the Audi. It's a nice looking car, but I don't need to be that close to it.
Fair.
And I'm pleased to hear that I did pronounce it correctly. Welcome along to the stream. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for the follow as well. So, into the closing stages of what has been a 90-minute race tonight here at Donington Park. I say here at Donington Park. I'm obviously not actually at Donington Park, but it is my closest track. So I think I said it. As we see
Stocks has lost it.
Stocks dropping it. Oh, Tom.
What is it with me down here with people?
You must just scare people.
They're not running enough rear wing. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, it's tricky. Like once you start to lose your rear going into that corner, since it's so high speed and kind of off camber at the beginning of the corner exit, it's hard to, if you've lost it like before going into the corner, to actually save it. It's much better to kind of just snap back out of trying to make the turn and slow down on the grass instead of spinning out and killing your tires.
It sort of eggs you on a bit as well, doesn't it? It sucks you in to want to push as hard as you can through there.
Yeah, like when you get it perfect, it's probably one of the best feeling corners in the entire like calendar. But
sorry, that was very close between Parkin and Thorpe down through the Craners. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have anything else to add to that. It's just extremely nice to drive once you get it right, but it can very much kill you easily.
Donington's a great track to go to in real life as well. I don't know if either of you have had the pleasure. But,
actually, never been to any racing, like real life racing. I've done not track racing, but I've done like some folk race thing in Sweden, which is not particularly cool at all.
But surely you've been to some rallying.
No, oh god, no. I don't enjoy rallying at all, and I'm horrendous at it when it comes to like driving it myself. So no,
I struggle at driving it, but it's always interesting to watch. I thought that it was like law in the Nordic countries to be a rally fan.
Yeah, well, if you're Finnish, probably, but not Swedes.
Maybe the Norwegians as well after Petter Solberg.
Oh yeah, he was my favorite growing up. I did watch it a bit when I was younger before I got into track racing, but yeah, Solberger was my favorite then, and the Subaru or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, that Subaru in those days was beautiful car.
Yeah.
Alex Parkin, we just saw getting past.
Wilmot gets a DP.
Oh, the Prez with the pen. Yes. Yeah, well spotted. So I make that 3 so far.
Yep, that's the third one. That's sad with 2 or 3 minutes left of the race to get a drive through.
Well, you know, if he didn't run off track, then he wouldn't have got the penalty.
That is very much true. It's unfortunate. It happens.
You do the crime, you serve the time. But yeah, no, unfortunate for Matt to have got it so late on. We did just see Parkin getting past Pike as well. Everything seems pretty calm out there, but Marquez and Hearn are pretty close together as they just negotiate their way around Johnny Ashley.
Tim didn't touch the wall, just so you know, Jimmy, when he got past.
Nearly.
Yeah. Eric says over the line, serve the time. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh, yep.
You're
Very much.
absolutely right. So I think Marquez should have the pace to hold Hearn here. You never know, there might be a last-minute send from the nice retro West McLaren liveried car 666 there of Andy Hearn as they approach. I think there's Ben Brown just ahead of it. Oh, there's a whole gaggle of cars ahead of them. They've got Chakraborty and Brown and McKean and Prescott all ahead of them on track. Two Browns in the GT4s. So they should be easy to clear. Prescott, a fellow GT3 McLaren at that. Prescott a lap down on these guys.
What are you doing? I don't understand people's lines sometimes.
Oh, you should watch me drive, crikey.
Can
Hearn
be,
drops it trying to get past Prescott.
Just looked away from that.
Yeah.
Oh, and Southall's in the wall.
Oh dear. Southall round then.
That's Shahabi getting past.
Shahabi through and into second in class then. I'm just trying to pick up the replay of this one. This is down into the old hairpin as well.
Yep.
That has been the action point tonight. Oh, he just dropped it on the outside curb. Didn't actually make it as far as the wall by the looks of it.
Oh, I just saw him facing the wall for a second, so I thought that he
must have been millimetres away, but got away with it.
Oh, good job. So
Jimmy starts the final lap, yeah. You weren't tempted just to slow down a little bit and end it there and then?
There's 6 laps of fuel left.
You got the fuel, you might as well use it, eh? Yeah, you're right, Eric. Especially on a British track, there is a sponsorship ban on cigarettes. So yeah, that West McLaren should be banned. But we'll let him off. Well, until somebody comes knocking at oNiD's door saying, "Excuse me, you shouldn't be broadcasting that." Then we'll have a word. But until then, we'll be all right. But Jimmy just coming up the inside of Martin Thorpe. So that's GT3 and GT4 leaders side by side.
Yeah.
And just a few corners left to go.
So, if we were to describe Jimmy's race with one word, what would that be from you, Adam?
Domination.
I was gonna say dominant. So yeah, we're in line there. Solid, very good drive. Very good drive.
And if you were to use one word, Jimmy, what would it be?
Consistent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, there is your winner, Jimmy Mancy, across the line. Nice, flashy, thank you. So Mancy
Should have gone after Will on the cooldown lap. He's just in front of me.
Oh, he should have done, yeah. So here comes Lancaster. He's going to be your car in second. Look how far behind he is. Only coming into the loop section now.
Yeah, it's been very well driven race from Gio Jimmy here. Incredible drive.
So there won't be any interviews this week, unfortunately, just because it's the 90-minute race. So it's getting a little bit late, and I might be pushing my luck now. But there goes Lancaster across the line. So he takes second. Let's see if we can pick up Josh McKean, he's already finished, but he is our winner for the Porsche Cup class. Did Leg make it? Yes, he did. Leg wins the class by 8 seconds. So great job, Martin, in the Audi to take the win in the AM class. And Martin Thorpe has already crossed the line.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
just letting them know there's no interviews this week. But any final word from you, Jimmy?
No, thanks for obviously having me on the featured driver. As ever, thanks to obviously all of you guys who set all of this up and let us come along and race. It's yeah, it's a good bunch of guys.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Thank you for saying that. I know you've got some partners and sponsors as well. Is there anyone you need to say thank you to whilst you've got the airwaves for a second?
Yeah, obviously Sim Race 247, who you know are tied in with you guys now as well. I'm his ACC sponsored driver, so obviously all my race reports get put up on the simrace247.com website. So if you want to read any more esports articles, Darren, who runs it, is incredibly hot on getting the latest news up on there. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. What do you do at this point? Is it my mum, my dad, my goldfish?
What's the goldfish's
the other half for putting up and letting me sit here for sort of 2 hours odd on a Sunday evening.
Do you know what I think we all have other halves to thank actually for what they put up with. Yeah. So
To be fair, she built
well
the
said.
entire rig with me, and she was the one that kept me calm because it nearly went in the back garden at one point. Well, I say one point, several points. So yeah, yeah. I suppose if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have all of this sat here and be doing this. So I suppose I have to thank her.
Absolutely.
I suppose.
I suppose.
Not begrudgingly or anything. Just realised how that sounded. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'll say the race tired me out. It's fine.
Well, great job this week, and thank you for joining us. And talking of great jobs and thanking them for joining us, Fred, as always, a pleasure to have you in the comms box with us. And it won't be long before we see you back on track for the Monza 6 hours. So no, thank you for all of your insights and input tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to come help out here.
Well, you are welcome
cheers, guys.
anytime. Thank you both. I'm going to finish off with the just the message from one of our sponsors, Sim Stuff, and then, of course, the little outro, and then that'll be the stream over. So, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week.